or sometimes I can even feel them. Other times not. You just discover them. And, there are times, Deb, like you look at them, oh my gosh, that's a really big tick. And there's other times you barely look down. You almost need a magnifying glass. They're just so itty bitty tiny. It's just crazy.
That's good. There's different life stages of the tick. So most of the human biting ticks that I spoke of before, the Lone Star, the dog, the black-legged tick, all of that, they have different life stages, all of them. So, and they require a blood meal in order to get to that next life stage. So the female, let's talk about the Lone Star tick because that's the most prevalent tick. And the female will lay around 2,500 eggs. And those eggs are in a mass clumping, and then the female secretes this substance around those eggs that prevent it from desiccating from heat, and then it also kind of acts as an antimicrobial, so like fungal, like they won't rot basically. When those hatch, the Lone Star larvae remain clumped together. They're called like pack feeders, so they stay in a clump. So the larvae, which we tend to come in contact with in late summer, early fall. So that's sort of like, it can be as early as July, but typically it's more like August, September. Those are what people often refer to as the seed ticks because they're about the size of a grass seed. But when you run into those, you don't get one or two on you, you get hundreds or thousands because again, they're little pack feeders. And then once they get a blood meal, if they can feed to repletion, they'll drop off into the leaf litter or wherever they are, basically. They'll drop off, they'll molt, and then to the next life stage, which is the nymph. So you can think of the nymph as like the teenager of the ticks. And the nymphs now have 8 legs, but you can't tell male from female at that point. And because they're smaller than the adults, but they're bigger than the larvae, they're still pretty hard to detect. But if they take a blood meal, they'll feed to repletion, drop off, and then molt into an adult. And then one more blood meal is needed as adults in order for them to reproduce. So with each life stage, they get larger. So this time of year, you tend to run in much more frequently into the adults. So they'll be larger and more visible. A little later in the year, you'll start seeing adults, but more so nymphs. And then later in the summer and early fall, that's when you start running into those little guys, the little babies, the larvae. And they have 6 legs each, but they're so hard to see that I doubt anyone's counting their legs.